students, let us start with our chapter Control and Coordination. All the living organisms, both plants and animals, respond and react to changes in the environment around them. The changes in the environment to which the organism respond and react are called the stimuli. The living organisms show response to stimuli such as light, heat, cold, sound, smell, taste, touch, pressure, water, and force of gravity. The response of organisms to a stimulus is usually in the form of some movement of their body part. What happens when a man accidentally touches a hot utensil? Here in the picture you can see that water is boiling in a utensil. So you can see that the steams are coming out and a man is accidentally touching the handles of the utensil. What is his reaction? He immediately withdraw his hand. So here you can see that the man is withdrawing his hand. Here heat is a stimulus and the man reacts by moving his hand away from the hot utensil. Another example is that when we are frightened by a dog, we run away as fast as we can. Here, fear of the dog is a stimulus and we react by running away. All of you might have seen the sunflower and you know that a sunflower always faces the sun. Here, sunlight is a stimulus and sunflower react by bending towards the sun. From the above discussion, we conclude that the reaction to stimuli is a characteristic property of the living organisms. Both plants and animals react to various stimuli around them. But the method of reacting to stimuli is not similar in plants and animals. They react to stimuli in different ways. For example, plants bend towards light, but animals do not bend towards light. The animals can react to stimuli in many different ways because they have a nervous system and an endocrine system involving hormones. The plants, however, react to stimuli in a very limited way. This is because the plants do not have a nervous system like the animals have. The plants use only the hormones for producing reaction to external stimuli. The working together of the various organs of an organism in a systematic manner so as to produce a proper response to the stimulus is called coordination. We will now discuss the control and coordination in plants. The plants do not have a nervous system and a sense organs like eyes, ears or nose like the animals. But they can still sense things. The plants can sense the presence of stimuli like light, gravity, chemicals, water and touch etc. and respond to them. The plants can sense things like light, gravity, chemicals, water and touch by the action of hormones in them. The stimuli like light, gravity, chemicals, water and touch are called environmental changes. So we can also say that plants coordinate their behavior against environmental changes by using hormones. The hormones in plants coordinate their behavior by affecting the growth of a plant. And the effect on growth of the plant can result in the movement a part of the plant like shoot or root. The plants respond to various stimuli very slowly by growing. So, in most of the cases, the response of a plant to a stimulus cannot be observed immediately. It usually takes a considerable time to observe the effect of a stimulus on a plant. The function of control and coordination in plants is performed by the chemical substances called plant hormones. Plant hormones are also called phytohormones. Phyto means plant. So students, before we discuss the various types of plant hormones, we should know the meaning of dormancy and breaking of dormancy. So what is dormancy? Dormancy is a resting, inactive condition in which metabolism almost stops is called dormancy. The seed of a plant is inactive or dormant. Another part of the plant having dormancy is the bud. The control and coordination in plants is done by plant hormones or phytohormones. The plant hormones coordinate the activities of the plant by controlling one or the other aspect of the growth of the plant. The growth of a plant can be divided into three stages: cell division, cell enlargement, and cell differentiation. And these stages have particular locations in a plant. These three stages of plant growth, as well as promotion of dormancy, breaking of dormancy, stomata control, falling of leaves, fruit growth, ripening of fruits, and aging in plants are controlled by the various plant hormones. Let us see the three stages of plant growth once again. They are cell division, cell enlargement, and cell differentiation. There are four major types of plant hormones which are involved in control and coordination in plants. These are auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, and abscisic acid. Now let us study the detailed function of the various plant hormones. First one, the auxins. Auxins are the plant hormones which promote cell enlargement and cell differentiation in plants. Auxins also promote fruit growth. The second plant hormone is gibberellins. Gibberellins are plant hormones which promote cell enlargement and cell differentiation in the presence of auxins. Gibberellins help in breaking the dormancy in seeds and buds. They also promote growth in fruits. The next plant hormone is cytokinins. Cytokinins are the plant hormones which promote cell division in plants. Cytokinins also help in breaking the dormancy of seeds and buds. They delay the aging in leaves. Cytokinin promote the opening of stomata. They also promote fruit growth. Just now we have seen that auxins, gibberellins, and cytokinins are the plant hormones which promote growth of plants. On the other hand, abscisic acid is a plant hormone which inhibits the growth. Abscisic acid promotes the dormancy in seeds and buds. This is the opposite of breaking of dormancy. It also promotes the closing of stomata. Abscisic acid promotes the wilting and falling of leaves. It also causes the detachment of flowers and fruits from the plants. Plant movements can be classified into two: tropic movements and nastic movements. Tropic movements are directional and growth dependent, whereas nastic movements are non-directional and growth independent. Under tropic movements, we have to study about phototropism. It is a movement towards light. Geotropism is the movement towards gravity. Hydrotropism is the movement towards water. Chemotropism is the movement due to chemical stimulus, whereas thigmotropism is the movement due to contact or touch stimulus. Under nastic movement, thigmonasty is the movement in response to touch, whereas photonasty is the movement in response to light intensity. Now let us study the differences between nastic and tropic movements. Nastic movements are non-directional, that is, neither towards the stimulus nor away from the stimulus. These are variation movements which occur due to turgor changes. Stimulus is diffused. Example, folding and drooping of leaves of mimosa plant. Mimosa means touch me not plant in response to touch. Whereas tropic movements are directional movements which can be towards the stimulus or away from the stimulus. These are movements of curvature caused by unilateral growth, that is, growth on one side is more causing curvature. Stimulus is unilateral. Example, bending of stem towards light, that is phototropism, and downward growth of roots due to gravity, that is geotropism. Now let us study about the growth dependent movements or tropic movements. Tropic movements are directional movements which are produced due to unequal or different growth in different parts of plant organ in response to some external stimulus. They respond either in the direction of stimulus or away from it. Tropic movements are of the following types. There are 5 common stimuli in the environment: light, gravity, chemical, water, and touch. These 5 stimuli give us 5 types of tropism: phototropism, geotropism, chemotropism, hydrotropism, and thigmotropism. The movement of a plant part in response to light is called phototropism. The movement of a plant part in response to gravity is called geotropism. The movement of plant part in response to a chemical stimulus is called chemotropism. The movement of a plant part in response to water is called hydrotropism, whereas the directional growth movement of a plant part in response to the touch of an object is called thigmotropism. Now we will describe an experiment to show the response of plant parts to light. For this, we will take a flask, half fill it with water. Uproot a young plant with roots intact. Wash the roots of the plant thoroughly with water to remove the soil from them. Place this plant in a flask. Keep the flask in a box and place the whole setup as shown in the figure. The light is coming from the sun. After 2 to 3 days, you will observe that the shoot has bent towards light, whereas the roots are away from it. Now, turn the flask in a manner so that shoot is away from the light and roots are towards the light. Leave the whole setup undisturbed for few days. Observe it if the shoot and roots are growing in the previous direction or the directions are changed. You can observe that the shoot has turned towards light and the roots have grown away from light. This activity shows that in a plant, shoot is positively phototropic whereas the roots are negatively phototropic. So what we have studied from this experiment? When the sun is above, the stem of the plant grow straight towards light and the root grow straight downward away from the light. And now we are keeping the plant in a dark room near the window. So you can see that the sunlight is coming from one side through the window. You can also see that the stem and the leaf of the plant is bending towards the light, from which direction the light is coming. Whereas the root of the plant bent away from the sunlight. So the stem of the plant is showing positive phototropism, whereas the root is showing negative phototropism. This shows the response of plants to light or phototropism. The response of plants to gravity is called geotropism. The roots of plants always grow downward in response to gravity. This makes sure that they will find soil and water. The stem of plants always grow up away from the pull of gravity. This makes sure that they will get light. So in this activity, we are going to demonstrate that roots are positively geotropic and shoot is negatively geotropic. The procedure is as follows. We have to take a well-watered, healthy potted plant and tilt it horizontally. Leave it for about a week but keep watering it daily. Observe it after a week. What is observation? The apical part of shoot bends upwards against gravity and that of root downward towards gravity. The conclusion is that shoot shows negative geotropism and root shows positive geotropism. Hydrotropism is directional growth movement of curvature in response to water. Roots are positively hydrotropic and shoot is negatively hydrotropic. This can be demonstrated by placing a few germinating seeds in moist sawdust in a sieve. The radicle first grows down towards gravity but then turns upwards to obtain water from sawdust. Hydrotropic response is stronger than geotropic response. The next tropic movement is chemotropism. Chemotropism refers to directional growth movement in response to chemicals. For example, pollen tubes grow down the style due to the chemical produced by the ovule during fertilization. The next type of tropic movement is thigmotropism. It is a directional growth movement of curvature in response to contact stimulus. Twiners and tendrils show thigmotropism. They show less growth in the region of contact with support and more growth on the other side. This helps the twiner make a round around the support. Let us see what is growth independent movements or nastic movements. The movement of a plant part in response to an external stimulus in which the direction of response is not determined by the direction of stimulus is called nastic movements. The non-directional movement of a plant part in response to touch of an object is called thigmonasty. If we touch the leaves of the sensitive plant with our fingers, then its leaves fold up and droop almost immediately. The folding up of the leaves of sensitive plant touch me not is an example of nastic movement. The sensitive plant has pad-like swellings called pulvini at the base of each leaf. The pulvini contain a lot of water in their cells. Due to the internal water pressure in them called turgor, all the pulvini are very firm and hold the leaves above them upright. The pulvini have also large intercellular space between their cells. The folding up of the leaves of a sensitive plant on touching is due to sudden loss of water from pad-like swelling called pulvini present at the base of all leaves of sensitive plant, which make the pulvini lose their firmness, causing the leaves to droop and fall. Now let us see what is photonasty. The non-directional movement of a plant part, usually petals of flowers, in response to light is called photonasty. A dandelion flower opens up in the morning in bright light but closes in the evening when the light fades and it gets dark. The opening and closing of petals of dandelion is an example of photonasty. Thank you.